Hello, 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 and welcome to the Benney Babbles podcast. Oh, there I am, live. Welcome to the Benney Babbles podcast. I'm Gary Rees-Benney, and this is where I do all my babbling with whoever will babble with me. And tonight, I've got a special guest. It's Rebekah Knight from Blue Sparrow Yoga. So, shall we just bring her into the studio? Yeah, welcome to the studio. Oh, hey. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I like your back wall.
Yeah, we're matching.
We are matching. It's and we didn't arrange it, folks. Honestly, we didn't arrange that.
I went with the theme. I stalked you. I went out of my way. I rearranged my backdrop just for you.
I can see. Yeah, you've left a piece of plaster on the wall just behind you there, where you knocked it all off.
Ignore that.
Well, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on and joining and being willing to babble with me, basically.
Yeah, I'm always.
So, you're a good babbler, are you?
I am. Yeah. Well,
good.
I live in Wales like you, so we babble, right?
That is true, and I can do this. I think it's 8 hours a letter stream for, so we got plenty of time.
Oh, okay.
So I'll let me introduce you properly. This is Rebekah, as I said, from Blue Sparrow Yoga. So you're a yoga instructor and a what we call a healthy living advisor, or
yeah, like. I hate titles, but it seems to like progress as you go on through life. But I would say like a life coach, but in the spiritual realm, and a yoga teacher. But yeah,
and a yoga teacher. Oh, well, I'm not a yoga teacher, but we match each other on the yeah. So, what took you into it?
That's an interesting question. I would say life. So if you're going to coach people in life, you're going to have to experience life. And if you have, let's say blockages or like difficulties, and you've had to access that yourself, you have kind of like the empathy to give that to other people. So for me, like going through difficulties was the key reason why I was like, well, how can I help other people to not have such a difficult situation as me? Like how can you help people through the process of life, like
it's the same reason I started then. Is I managed the things I learned, I wanted to give back.
Exactly. I think like you think life's going to go a certain way and you have a life plan, shall we say, and then life doesn't work out the way you imagine it, and then you see yourself in a situation where like, oh, actually I would like to help people to have an easier version of what I've gone through. So it's quite an empathetic road. I don't know. You just want to help people.
Well, because like I don't know about yourself, but I feel quite lucky that I had lots of support when I needed it. And then when I got through the other side, it was and I'd seen lots of people didn't have that support. And it was sort of, oh yeah, right. Well, maybe I could be that support for them then.
Yeah.
So exactly. It was kind of giving it back, and it, obviously it's changed your life.
Definitely. I think I was on one path, and then suddenly it was like, oh, my life did this. You don't need to go into the details, but it took you on a different path, which was it was a negative experience, but it promoted a very positive growth in me. Like, how am I going to help and facilitate people that have gone through what I've just gone through? So it changed my course in life, shall we say. Like it took the focus off me to how can I help people and facilitate people in this way.
Yeah, I totally get that. It's very much mirroring going on here. There's but it's so. How long have you been how long have you been doing it, really?
I would say for about the last 4 years. I don't know how personal you want to get, but I had a divorce, or my husband left, and let's say in a very simple way, prior to that, I was living for him, and I lived for my children, and I'd almost forgotten myself. And so when that happened, it was like an awakening. I don't know if people relate to that whole idea of awakening, but it was like, remember who you are. Does that make sense? And I just had this like slap in the face, almost like, you've literally forgotten who you are, and you've forgotten you've forgotten your talents, you've forgotten the roots of who you are and what you long to do and how you long to help people. I'd literally been in a cave almost. That's how it felt. And then from this traumatic experience, shall we say, I woke, and things just started to be put in place. Like, my desires meant something to me, and I started to act on my desires. Does that make sense? Like, I wasn't I didn't just know them and ignore them. I started to listen to them and take action, and that's kind of made a massive impact. And
it's like you said, I totally get you. The feeling of, I've woken up, where, who am I? I need to find myself. I need to know who I am, because you doing things for other people, and it's always putting other people first. But even though we haven't stopped doing that, but we also have learned to take time out to be us as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And because that is important. And remembering who you are, because as you said, you can just get lost in the whole jumble of life, really. And I think lots of people are going through that kind of thing right at this moment. I think with the lockdowns and everything, it's made people having to look at their life in a completely different way, because they haven't been able to work, or one thing or the other, and so I think there's an awakening around the place. I really, really think that. So the yoga, I try and do yoga. I try. I'm getting better.
Pictures where it didn't happen.
Oh, you'll be impressed. There we are. There's one.
Oh, with some champagne.
Oh no, that's the wrong one. Yeah, that's the wrong one. There we are.
Go. Warrior 2. Yep. But there's no champagne in your hand. Oh,
no champagne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I got.
Oh, okay, Lotus. Yeah.
And then Lotus. Yeah, I like that as well. Yeah.
I think that's not actually you. That's some emoji. It didn't happen.
But no, it's I suffer with my back and things like that. So it's and stretching. People don't realize how important stretching is. And we're just working on your basic core muscles. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to go pick up weights or anything. You can do it all at home.
Yeah.
In the privacy, so nobody's watching you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I find it quite because it's very mindful as well when I'm doing it. So it's anyone out there, go and try yoga. Honestly, it's not only good for the body, but it is good for the mind as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think for me, yoga kind of saved me. That sounds very dramatic, but in the times when I was in my worst state, like in a state of grief, I would get up in the morning and I'd have a cup of coffee and I'd be on my mat, and just that gentle movement and coming home to myself evoked all the emotions that I needed to feel. And it wasn't about exercise. Yoga to me is not exercise, and it is, but it's also very coming home. So in the movement and in the let's say our emotions are just like energy within ourselves.
Yeah.
When it's stagnant, or when you're in grief, shall we say, just lying in bed and staying there in that state of yuck, it's not going to do any good. So I would get up every morning and I would get on the mat. Sometimes getting on the mat would be tears, cup of coffee, 3 movements, but somehow it was moving that energy through my body. It's something healing through yoga, which isn't an exercise, shall we say.
Mm.
It is also a spiritual practice, which at the time I didn't completely understand, but now I do. There is something in moving your body, which is evoking also not only, we're threefold. We're not just physical, we're also spiritual, we're also emotional. So all the emotions were kind of transferring through the movement. And as I say, I might do 3 movements, end up in child's pose and cry. But that
Yeah.
was what I needed for the day. And it's honoring your body, your mind, and your soul all in one. And I think that's yoga. It's not just like I'm going to the gym to pump it out to forget. There's
Yeah.
this
Yeah. I get where. That's one of the reasons that I used to go to the gym quite a lot a long time ago, and I was thinking, I need to get back into. I don't exercise enough, and so I just started, and it's so easy to find. There's so much on YouTube that you can just watch a basic video and follow it.
yeah.
So and it's helped me learn about my body as well, because I'm more aware of the different parts of my body when I'm. So it's like I've always had sort of weak. I got a bad back and I have bad knees, but they've helped me sort of strengthen those parts of me. And and having to doing whichever pose it is that I'm doing, it's sort of the only thing I think about is what I'm doing and what I can feel it. Yeah, in that moment. Yeah, and it's been really, really helpful to me. And so then life coaching, like we went down the road. So is it 4 years, the both together, or
Yeah, a little bit longer with the life coaching. However, I left it. I qualified, but then I didn't really do much with it. However, I always felt like yoga was the thin end of the wedge. Like for me, yoga isn't. It's not the postures. It's not the exercise. It's a way. It is the thin end of the wedge of getting into a class, and I think that's what makes me slightly different as a yoga teacher. Is I will come into a class, but I will always have an intention, or I'll always provoke you to think about yourself. So there's always that element of the life coaching coming in through the thicker end, shall we say. So
yeah.
I've got in and I'm in the class. However, I will never just do a class of like, let's work out our abs or our biceps. There's always an intention. There's always a question. There's always self-inquiry, because that is the heart of me, trying to make people see or understand themselves a little bit better. So yoga for me is not just the physical aspect, which it isn't, but my classes are a little bit different because I always incorporate that life coaching aspect of self-inquiry.
Yeah. And again, I think everyone should go through that process of self-inquiry and looking on themselves. I think we should all do it. I think it should be compulsory.
Yeah,
everything else is going compulsory, so why not that?
Yeah. So. Let's just create a vaccine of self-inquiry or something.
Inquiry, yeah.
It's mandatory. Oh dear, it's needed.
So where are you based currently?
I'm in Guildford at the minute. I've been here probably about 15 years now. So I moved for my ex-husband's degree, and I haven't left. So it's kind of become home for me. And so Surrey is my home at the minute. And yeah. But I was from Wales, so I recognise the Welsh twang.
The Welsh twang.
Yeah, the whole
Would you
Welsh
ever
twang.
would you ever move back to Wales?
Definitely. I feel like Wales is home. Like I was from Cardigan, southwest. At the time, being a teenager, it was it didn't have many prospects. But Wales always calls me home, like the beaches, the coastline, the tranquility. I definitely see myself retiring there. Yeah.
And
But
me, and me.
yeah, at the time it didn't have the aspects or the prospects, but
Well, yeah, when we're younger, we don't appreciate what's around us, do we? Really, it's just we're always
yeah.
longing for somewhere else. As
I think it's also age
youngsters, I
dependent,
suppose.
because as a teenager you're not going to want the beach, but as
No,
an adult, yes, you appreciate those things. And I just come back and I'm like, oh, like the sunset and the beach, like take me back. Like there's something very different about Wales. It's very spiritual and it's very tranquil, and yes, it does call me home, but for the time being I'm here. And yeah,
keep
but
it for retirement.
yeah, exactly. I think that will be a place that I come back to for sure, definitely. The coastal.
So obviously you do the yoga, and throughout the lockdown, how did that affect your work?
The work, well, that's a funny thing actually, because it actually pushed me to be something very different. It actually pushed me to be I had to step out of my comfort zone big time, because everything went online, for example. So everything was Zoom based. Not only that, but I'm self-employed, but I have an agency, and the work that was coming in was so different. So I would have visually impaired yoga. So I'm having to completely recreate the way I teach, audio based only.
Yeah.
There was constant challenges, but I'm up for a challenge. And I just, well, if you see it as factual, great, but I also have a very spiritual intuition. And prior to the COVID, I really felt like COVID was like a line where I would step forward and find elements of me that I've never experienced before. Like the way I saw it was like digging for treasure. And I can honestly say that's what's happened, because during this COVID, it's literally forced me and others to dig for something that wasn't there prior COVID. So we've found elements of ourselves that we didn't realize existed.
Yeah.
Because we had to. We had to evolve. We had to go online. We had to try different things. We had to put ourselves out of our comfort zone. And I've literally expanded thanks to COVID. Some people obviously see like the negative effects, like it had a negative effect financially, but experiential.
Yeah.
I grew. I don't know about you, but it pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Yes, most definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. It really made me question what I was doing and who I was as well. Again, another stage. It's like, right, okay, where am I going? What are you doing? Right, okay. All my work's stopped. What do I do? So yeah, it made me have to sort of look at the way I lived my life, and I've started to make changes now. So it makes my life much easier. I was living a life that was quite difficult for no reason apart from I was making it difficult for myself.
Yeah. Was it financially based, or was it lack of confidence where you've literally had to?
Financially based, it was, because all my work, everything stopped. I had the first year in a while that I sort of filled my diary up of work throughout the year, whether it was through coaching, through acting, gigging with a band. It was just a non-stop year of gig. And then April came round and we had a phone call and everything just stopped. And I got my diary and I'm going, right, okay, what's left? Nothing. I've got nothing. I've got no work. And and lots of the stuff they still haven't started back up again.
No.
It's yeah. So, but I've had to look. This is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
This is why it's made me think. Oh, well, it's better to sit in the house. And I had to go to quite a few years ago, but it was quite. You had to have lots of equipment. You had to have this, that, and the other. But now with the likes of StreamYard, it's just you just log into it and you press broadcast and it goes. It's like, wow, that's easy. Yeah. That's easy. So
I think we have a lot of like negative like bias. We go to the negative bias. I can't. And when you're put in a situation, I almost feel like COVID brought out the playfulness of people, whereas we just became children again. Like, actually, I enjoy this. I'm not making any money from it. What do I actually enjoy? This.
Yeah.
And then from the fun energy, it's going to grow. Something's going to come from this playful energy because we've come back. We've almost been reset, like a phone. Like, reset that phone back to setting. Who are you? What do you love? Where have you been distracted? Here we go. We've reset you. Be fun. Be playful. Maybe you're not making any money yet. However,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and that's how I've always sort of done things. Really, when I started acting, I had no acting training. I had nothing basically, but I knew what I wanted to do, and I just put myself out there and said, "Yeah, I'll have a go at that. I'll do that." And then people were just asking me then, "Oh, do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And then I've been doing it 30 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's that expression? Fake it till you make it.
Oh yes,
I 100% agree with that. Fake it till you make it.
Well, everyone does. Because
we're all faking it.
We're all faking it because nobody knows what they're doing.
Nobody's gonna know.
Yeah, because nobody's gonna know. It's like, this is why having impromptu conversations like this.
Exactly. That's why
it's like what questions my friend asked me this afternoon. What kind of questions? And I went, I don't know. I said, we just start talking. I said, and we take it from there.
Nobody's gonna know.
Nobody's exactly, and it can't go wrong.
Exactly. That's the best kind, I think. It's just
it is
like real.
Exactly, it's real, and that's why I like having conversations with real people. And it doesn't. For me, everyone has a story.
Yeah.
Everyone has a story, whether they realize it or not. And sometimes it's sort of all you need is just start to talk, and they'll tell you the story, whether they in the end,
whether they wanted to or not. It just comes out, right?
It comes out, and I try to make this very sort of very chilled and just a relaxed atmosphere as friends talking, and you can have a drop of your wine if you want.
Oh, okay. I'm allowed my wine.
Yeah, you load your wine. You're gonna. I think Alid drunk about. He was drinking loads last week when he was on.
Was he? I didn't see that one. Was he the TikTok famous dude? I watched one.
No, it was the one before that. My friend Alid, he's a music promoter.
Oh, okay.
So we had him on talking about how everything's been changing, and he'd messaged me beforehand and said, "What's the language? Can I?" Because he swears quite a lot.
Can I say?
I said, yeah, and I said. Look, I said, just be yourself. Just be yourself. I said that I have got a sign that says, "Hang on, I got him here." They said there might be swearing.
Might be swearing. I saw that.
There we are. This show might contain strong language. There we are. I put my warning up.
Subjects of an adult nature. There we go. Yeah, so I'm allowed to say that word.
Yeah, you can say what you want to. It's as long as I put that up, we can do it.
You're fine. You're sorted.
Yeah. So and it's a few people contacted me the day after and said, "God, he does swear a lot, doesn't he?"
Oh, did you?
Every other word.
You said it once, so we're okay. you can do a little beep if you like.
Yeah. But it said we're all adults, and we can swear if we want to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is.
I feel like I kind of want to interview you as well. So am I allowed to?
Feel free. Ask some questions if you want to.
So we've just talked via Instagram, I guess, to all the people listening. So me and Geraint, I don't even know how we met, but maybe it was a life coaching hashtag.
I think it was, yeah.
But I think you had a difficult point in your life. It's up to you whether you share that or not.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah.
I feel personally that you've really moved on from that, from when we first started talking. And I don't know, I just felt like radio. I sometimes just feel things, but radio is definitely you. This whole thing is definitely you. And I feel this progressing. However, at what point or what engaged that kind of like transition, or when did you feel that spark of change, shall we say?
It would have been. It was Easter time, really. My dad had passed away in January, and it sort of from there I was still in work, and then I stood for election for some mad reason for the Welsh Assembly. So everything was just had gone on top, and it just got too much. And lockdown had stopped all work, and it had just come to a point where it was just like, who am I?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Question.
I was on this path, and I've sort of got because of COVID, it's sort of pushed me off my path because I'm not doing what I should be doing, and what do I do? And it was a bit of an identity crisis, and I've suffered with my mental health since I was a teenager, really, but I'd always kind of been able to
manage it.
You know what I mean? And I think it was just a lot of things came all at the same time, and end of a relationship as well, and it was just sort of, who am I? What am I about? And I ran away. And I came back home, and then I was just like, oh, what do I do? And it was and then I had this message of an angel then asking me how I was.
Well, can you elaborate? What do you mean, a message of an angel?
I had a message from an angel.
A literal angel. So I want you to elaborate on that.
For me, yes, I think yes. And
and
that was you.
Oh, me?
That was you. Yeah, you generally did, because we hadn't really spoken before, and you noticed before anyone else did.
Oh, that really touches me, because I was not expecting that. That was not why I asked you the question. That's actually blown my mind. But okay.
Yeah, because I remember the when you messaged me and you asked,
are you okay?
Are you okay? Because I feel there's something. Are you? And I was like, I'm okay. But you were the first person. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was a weirdo and a stranger to you at that point.
but you made me realize, I'm not okay.
Oh, you're making me well up now. I didn't know this.
This is one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you as well, is because you've been, you were a great help, and it was having someone that was sort of that we didn't know each other, but there was a connection that you'd had, and you could feel what it was, and you made me go, hang a banger now. I need to look at myself here, because there is something wrong, and I'm not if I don't face it, I'm gonna. Where's it gonna go? And then I reached out then and said, look, I need help. Please come and help me. So, but it was up until that point, and it made me think, oh God, I do, I do need help.
So sorry. So to that, I'm trying to avoid myself and move myself out of that equation, because that's a shock for me. Anywho, so prior to that point, did you not have any realization, or did you?
Oh,
But were you denying it, and you were in a state of grief, or what was happening?
Well, I started my journey around about the same time as you, about 4 or 5 years ago. It started all originally. I lost my partner 10 years ago to cancer, and I was, as you can imagine, it just rocked my world. And but it, if you'd said to me 10 years ago that I would be working as a counselor and a life coach and doing these things, I would have said, yeah,
You're
okay,
lying. Yeah.
you're mad. Yeah, you're mad. But here I am 10 years later, and that's what sort of set me on my journey. And then I started, just sort of reaching out, helping people, and then people started coming to me, and it was just, it happened.
Yeah.
I can't really explain how it happened, if you know what I mean. And like I did my counselling exams years ago, and because I'd gone to college with my friend because he wanted to go to college, didn't want to go on his own, and I said, "Oh, go on, I'll come with you." Yeah, I'll come with you. And then I finished all my exams, and he quit after a couple of weeks, and I just carried on going.
That was you. That was your path.
It was, and then I when I done it all, I was like, well, I'm doing this. I was getting plenty of work and things like that. So I thought, well, I've got it there. It's there, and I never really used it. Yeah,
I was the same. I was like, it was like a background thing. I didn't think I'd use it, and I don't actually use it technically, but it comes into play with everything that I do. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
I don't sit down in a room with people, with clients, one-on-one, and use that as it is. But all the knowledge is just me trying to help people. But it will come through in a yoga class or a circle or whatever. The experience of that qualification comes through because it's the heartfelt thing, right? Like, you want to help people.
Yeah, and it was, well, coming back to when, Easter time, it was what I had was an identity crisis because I felt like a fraud. I felt, it was like what was it? This the saying, I say it all the time. I can't think of the word. It was a fraud. Really, I felt like a fraud. Who am I?
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Yeah, and it was totally imposter syndrome. I knew what it was, but I was just like, look, and it was, and I was like, well, who am I to give anyone advice and help anyone? Who am I? Who am I to do this? And then, but as it's gone on, and my friends have gone, well, Gay, you're you. That's why you can do it. You've got it. Yeah, it's there. It's you. This is why we come to you.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, right, okay, yeah. But now that I've had to stop and go, right, okay, stop going 100 miles an hour. Let's slow down and take stock of what's in front of me and take one step at a time instead of trying to run before I can walk, and take my time. And by doing that, it's helped me. It's helped me level back off, and it's like, I needed it.
Yeah.
I really, really needed it because it's helped me clarify who I am, what my beliefs are, and what my beliefs aren't anymore.
100%. 100%.
Well, I can't do that. With my beard.
Well, it's like the 100%. No, I totally agree. And even to the slowing down, that's something that I felt. I don't know when you felt that, but for me, it was in the last 2 weeks. Like, just breathe. Because actually, you've gone 100 miles an hour into what you're meant to be doing. But actually, stop. there are things you still need to deal with.
Yeah.
There are things that you still need to process. And I know that because I have children and I have conversations. It's like, I don't want to repeat the same. I want to stop this. Like, whatever my parents did for whatever reason, I don't want to pass that on. So I don't want to be a 100-mile-an-hour mum that's ignoring like what they're dealing with. And it feels like the universe is just almost like you just said. It was really weird. Like, okay, now just calm. That's you. You've realized it. But now just take stock. Like, you have some pain to deal with still.
Yeah.
And you need to breathe. That's always going to, you know now that's you. But if you want to help your clients or your students or your children, breathe. And now is the time to take that breath and acknowledge that you're not a superwoman, Superman. Take a breath. Even if it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I've sort of scrolled back to everything and just like, I'll do what I've got to do at the moment, but I'm just spending time being used to being me, and building my confidence back up, because it did give me a big knocking. And when I talk to my family and friends about it, I totally get where they're coming from. Because I am Mr. Smiley and I'm Mr. Positive, and and I'm really good at hiding when I'm not.
That could be a massive mask, and this is what I talk to my kids about.
Oh, totally, and it is.
The people that have the biggest shadows have the biggest personalities. I'm not saying that's you, but you can recognize people. You just express that. Like, the person on the dance floor doing their moves, they're probably the one you look out for and say, they got some issues that they need to deal with. The quiet person on the side of the room eating cheese, they're probably sorting their shit out. But me and you, the dancey, we're all good. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're all fine. No.
Yeah.
They're the people you need to talk to.
It is, and that's it, because I'm always sort of, they say, well, be life and soul, and say, I'm like, yeah, but it's all a front. It's all a front. Even though that is me as well.
You. I'm not saying it's not you, but it's also a mask.
Yeah,
but it's going on behind.
Yeah,
behind you.
And I'd got so good at wearing that mask, I'd forgotten that I was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And then the mask fell off.
Yeah.
And then I went, oh, hang on, there's something underneath this mask.
Yeah.
I need to deal with this.
Do you know that the mask can fall off and you can be the best counselor ever?
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, in our vulnerability, we attract the right people, the soul tribe, because we attract the energy that we're actually expressing. And if you're putting on this mask, it's like nobody's going to come to that. They feel the falseness.
Yeah.
You drop the mask and you say, hey, here I am. Like, this is what I've experienced. This is what I've gone through. I'm not perfect, but I have some advice to give you. That's your soul tribe. Like, that's who you're going to attract.
It is, yeah. And that's what has been, happening. It's sort of my life has changed. It has changed a lot over the last 10 years, but in the last 6 months, there's been, I really had to go deep inside, and I'm still deep in there somewhere. Working it out, and but I'm not frightened anymore.
No, you just gotta go. You gotta go. Mask on, mask, go.
Exactly. And where I was frightened before, I was afraid of going in there and digging all this up in case there was something I didn't like. And I was like, oh, but it's like, no, come on, this is, I know who you are. We've got all the answers to all our problems. It's just being honest with ourselves, really, isn't it?
It's being the whole thing is like the less comfortable you are with embracing what's going on within shows the dynamic of what your parents have done to you. Does that make sense? So the diversity of how much am I prepared to understand myself, it is very equational to how much did I feel my parental love accepted me who I am.
Yeah.
And I had a good childhood also, I think.
Yes.
But there's still a lot of issues. There's still a lot of issues, and there's a lot of me saying, oh, I don't matter. I put myself to the side. And then as an adult, it's like, actually, you need to spend some time with yourself. And it's like, it's uncomfortable, right? Like,
it is, but we
all
all
want to push it aside. It's easier to deal with a client,
someone else,
someone else, than it is to deal with you. What does that say?
It is right. It's right, and it's everywhere.
Well, yeah, it's massive. We're all dealing with it. However, I think that we need to change the conversation, and this is perhaps why we're on this wall. Because it matter. Yeah, like, come on, we're on the same wall, even the same backdrop. But I don't think people really believe that they matter. Or that
I totally agree with you.
You will invest 80% of your time to someone else and 20% to yourself. And that's probably my equation. Because I feel better giving than I do receiving. And I know you're the same. Most people do, because that's what we're taught. And I don't know why, but we really, really need to switch. Because what's happening in has an effect on what's happening out. So if we're investing 100% in ourselves, that is going to have a massive effect on how we treat our clients, our students, our friends, our relationships. And I've had to learn that, but I'm still not 100%.
No, well, I don't think we'll ever get to that 100%. And I don't know if I'd want to get to the 100%, but you're totally right. We put others, because it's I think it's because it makes us feel good about. So we are getting good, that feeling good.
Yeah, well, it's called the dopamine effect. If you give someone something and it makes you feel good, you're going to get a dopamine effect. It's a drug.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if that's a toxic person or what. We have to learn like what's right for us.
Yeah.
You can be giving like 100% of yourself to some toxic MF and still getting the dopamine. It's a drug. Toxic, giving, getting nothing back. Still getting the dopamine effect. You have to. Our brain is like it needs to be programmed correctly to understand that we matter, and we need to give to ourselves self-love just as much as we're giving out. It's not just giving, like emptying of ourselves. We're a vessel.
One of the things I say to my clients, of where they sort of to recognize this. But I enjoy doing that. I say, I know.
Yeah, of course you do. Because of the dopamine effect.
Yeah. I said, but if you were not looking after you, then how can you look after anyone else?
Yeah.
I said, because you've got to look after yourself first. And then then if you've got a little bit left over, then you can give to others.
Add to your friends.
And add to your friends and things like that. But you've got to have that. And it was one thing that I wasn't doing. I wasn't practicing what I was preaching.
No. I've spent my entire life, I think, for the last 5 years, overextending, because I had no self-worth. I had they were more important to me. That's how it felt. Like I need to give to them because I get my dopamine effect by their approval or their gratification or their blah blah blah, and it switched. Maybe that's the awakening of you matter. What do you want to do? Like COVID, like hang on, your finances cut. Like, remember what you actually love. Like, where's Geraint? Like, what do you want to do? Back to you, back to you, back to you. Like, we
Yeah,
constantly
and
get these awakenings of you've been giving to the system, you've been giving to the finance, we've given to this, blah blah blah. We get these awakening processes sometimes. Like, it's like a here
yeah,
and
and
now.
it's yeah, and yeah, you remember what's important
Yeah,
rather um, than which is yourself, your loved ones, and nothing materialistic.
no, it's not material. But
There's
for
no
some
material,
people it is. Some people are materialistic, but that's
well,
not
there's
my.
lots.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot
it doesn't
of,
really matter
and
what you're tied into. Everybody has a drug,
yeah,
but the
and
awakening
it's
process is unraveling that drug and reminding you that you are
yeah,
the main thing. And it's a bit weird because you're like, oh, I've invested all my time in this and this and this and this.
yeah. What do I do now?
Yeah, who am I?
Who am I?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
and that's a
but
bit weird.
it is,
Yeah, it's a bit lonely, and it's a bit of an echo. It's a bit of a like, ooh, me, woo. There's an echo. It's a
and
bit weird.
yeah, it is weird, and but yeah, and I've gone through it a number of times, and we all probably all have gone. We there is I now believe there are stages through life,
Yeah, yeah.
where and
There's many.
you're going to hit them, whether doesn't matter what you do. Think you're going to hit these stages in life,
Of course.
and it's how you deal with them, how you react to them, and as I get older, more and yeah, it's wiser we become, and we recognize these stages as they come in towards us now,
Yeah.
and we can either sort of bury our head in the sand
Uh-huh.
or go right, okay,
Yeah. But that's the hardest. That's the hardest bit is to go right. Okay.
yeah, it is,
It's
and
not easy to it. I feel like an awakening is an invitation. Are you coming to my party? But it's your party. It's to celebrate you, and that's
yeah,
awesome. Are you coming to Rebekah Knight's party? What? No, no, no. I'd rather go to Geraint's party because I feel more comfortable celebrating him than I do me.
yeah. Well, when I said earlier about when we first started talking, um, that made you feel uncomfortable. I didn't mean to make you
Yeah.
feel
No,
uncomfortable.
I honestly didn't know. That's fine. But
I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable,
I
but
didn't know that.
I get that because I'm not very good at taking compliments
Yeah.
myself. I'm not, because it's like, oh no, I don't do it for that kind of, and so but we should say, oh, thank, oh right, okay,
Yeah.
because
But
we are
we
worthy.
won. We're one and we're worthy. Yeah. And I think sometimes we invite people to our party and it's just to celebrate you. And that can
Yeah,
be a little weird. But I feel like
yeah,
tonight, I just want to celebrate you because for me, you've come a long way. And I understand that and I recognize that. We've never physically met or had a conversation, but we have chatted. But I feel in my heart like you have gone through so much that you actually haven't actually expressed. You
yeah.
said a little bit. You said a little bit. But my heart says there's so much more to that you haven't expressed.
Yes, there is, and and recognizing now that that's what I need to do. I need to get, I need to release it. Otherwise, it's just going to eat me up inside.
It doesn't have to be. Sorry, I feel like we're having a personal
No, it's okay.
like
I'm a very open.
counseling session online, like everyone watching. But
That's fine.
okay, that's fine. Okay, if you're cool with that. So yes, it doesn't have to be public, but I do think that that's something that I've triggered in you or you understand. There's a language that we haven't said.
Yeah.
And I feel the same. And I will tell you maybe after this, but I've had the same message. Like, I've had dreams that are saying you can't ignore the pain. You have to face it. It's like, I don't know, I could describe the dream. It's probably traumatic. I'm not going to go there. But the message that I'm getting is, if you want to move on, if you want to excel in actually that freedom of being a child, and I don't know, like gymnastics or fun or podcasts or whoever you feel free being, you've got to release this pain, with this weight.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't fly. And it's like we're in this transition. Like we're trying it. Like we've been forced to try it. We were on this brick wall on this podcast, which wouldn't be happening if COVID. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're trying it, but there's still this.
There's still sense?
There is still this something, and that's you, and that's me, and we need to address it.
Yeah, so we do, and it's
like, you can't fly without cutting the ties.
Cutting the ties, yeah, and it's usually out of fear that we don't want to cut these ties, because it's afraid of new, because it's where we hide, even though it's uncomfortable and it's painful, but we still feel safe there. And but it's not. It's a false. It's a false security, really, because there is no security there. And you've got to sort of say, well, no, if I want to be the person that I really want to be, who I really am, then I've got to cut I've got to stop doing these things, and I've got to change everything.
Like, it's like cutting an umbilical cord. Like, I've had 3 children, and I've watched my husband trying to cut that cord, and it's like this. They want to release the baby, but there's this weird, like, you know what I mean? There's this resistance of, oh, this feels weird. I'm cutting. I've watched him 3 times, like, trying to cut this cord, and it feels the same. Like, I know I have to do this for the baby to become its own entity, not connected. But there's this resistance every time, and it feels like that. It's like, I know I want to be free. I know I want to fly much higher than I am now. I know I have so much potential. So do you. But there's this weird, but mummy, but safety, but you know what I mean? There's resistance,
I totally get that.
I know this means if I cut them, they're their own individual. However, there's this resistance. It's a cord. Why? What is that resistance? Chopping that little. I watched it every time, and it feels very symbolic. Like, I know I want to be free. I know I want to fly.
But it's just.
But there's this resistance to cutting the cord. Like, what is that?
That's a good analogy of explaining it, because that is exactly how it feels. It's like, that you got to do it, and it's for the best. And but it's just it's that.
But you know what it is? It's this. I can tell you the energy of it is letting go. You've spent 9 months in your womb with your mum. You're a duo. You're a twin. You're a thread. Now you're goodbye. That's you on your own. Like, and you're going to. Well, we know you're going to survive because you become an adult. You become a human. You become. But they don't know that. It's the unconscious. Unconscious knowing of not trusting the process of actually
the next.
You're like the most. You're like 3 million trillion babies have been born. Like, you'll be fine. Like, your first experience. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
that's exactly how I feel. How I feel at the moment is that. Yeah, and I've got to cut. I've got to cut that
Cut the
cord.
So do I.
I've got to cut that cord, and it's
So
like,
do I.
oh, it's
It's
frightening.
horrible because you don't have the knowledge. Everyone else is looking at it, like in the room, like in the labor room, going, of course, this baby's going to grow into a human. This is normal. Like this happens 30 million times a day. But for us, it doesn't. This is our first experience of, I'm letting go of this attachment. This attachment to security, this attachment to, this is all I've ever known. And
yes, the fear of the unknown.
It's the fear of the unknown.
And
knowing that, Caroline, okay, knowing that actually we're looking at those people stupidly, like, just cut the fucking cord. Should we just not do that? Energetically, let's do that.
Yeah, just go for it, and yeah, because I know that's what I need. Because I know what, as soon as I cut there.
Yeah.
Then
well, you're gonna fly and you're gonna grow and you're gonna be a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old. You're gonna.
And I am excited for it as well, because I really do believe that is the process. I know that it's not I believe. I know that is the process that I'm going to go through, and it's like, just then do it, do it. Be you. Be the you. It doesn't, and the people that love you are gonna still love you from the person you are. They probably love you more because you've improved yourself. You've been better. But
Does it even matter if they don't? Does it even matter?
No, it doesn't, because they just, if they can't accept you for who you are, then they don't matter. They don't matter anyway. And it's sort of
they matter as individuals, but
for themselves. But it doesn't matter to my existence.
It doesn't matter to your experience. So you need to take the scissors. This is the whole message of tonight. Sorry. Take the scissors, grow the wings, and go where you know you're meant to be going.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm believing.
That's it. And it's scary. Like it's unknown.
I think it's that unknown, and just trust in your instincts. And I've always, I'm a very sort of energy based kind of person. I feel lots of people's energies, and it's sort of, but I don't listen to it enough. I know, and I should. Even when I'm like, that's not right, but instead of doing something about it,
I joy. No, you need to do that more.
And that's what that's one of the things that
it becomes more loud as you ignore it, and the repercussions of ignoring it become louder.
Yes, and they have.
Yeah. So you need to listen, and you need to trust yourself. And if I could sum up this evening, it's snip the umbilical cord, let your wings grow. You've got so much more to come.
Well, it's going to be nice because as this is growing, we can do this more often, and we can watch each other cut out cords and watch each other fly, and it's going to be
definitely. I've already watched you fly, Garrett, and I absolutely love you, and I'm supporting you and I'm cheering you on even from the sidelines. But
thank you very much, Rebecca, and it is really appreciated.
I'm so proud of you, and I love being here, just supporting you on this brick wall. From Wales, sorry, we're still unanimous with our brick wall.
Yeah, we are. See, we're in different parts of the country, but we could be in the same room.
Exactly.
Apart from, I think your brick wall is real.
Obviously, it's not.
No, it's a
wallpaper.
Wallpaper, yeah.
No, mine is actually real. But it's fine.
Well, we can. I shall let you go and fill your glass up now and enjoy the rest of your evening. And we should do this again soon. Yeah.
Really thank you for inviting me. And
no, thank you for coming on. Really, it's been a pleasure chatting, and it's nice to actually chat to each other properly. Yeah.
Oh, you did almost make me cry, but we'll pretend that didn't happen.
but it was true.
Yeah, well, thank you. I love you.
Well, yeah, and you. So I'm going to say to everyone. Hwyl everyone, and I'll be back one day. I think Friday. I think I'm back. I'm not sure I got Friday, but I'll be back on Friday. So see you then. Bye, everyone.